What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. My name is Kendall Bowman, and ladies and gentlemen, I've said it probably more than a dozen times on my show, and I get a lot of people get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, but I've said this multiple times, and it's the fact that you no longer live in a free society here in America today, and some of you might sit there and scoff at that because we still enjoy many rights and privileges as Americans in this world. Now, the reason why I state this so many times on my show is because there is a clear, it is very clear that there are certain powers in our nation that would wish to erode those privileges and those rights away from us, the American citizens. And in this story today, we're talking specifically about the First Amendment, the right of free speech, the right of religion, the right to follow whatever religion that you would like to follow, the right to be able to have those religious beliefs not trampled on by our government. And we're gonna start off this with a very sad story from Timcast. Massachusetts bans a couple from fostering children because of conservative Catholic beliefs on marriage and gender. Now, I would just like to say that there is a federal law stating that religious beliefs cannot be a factor in banning someone from fostering children. That is a federal law. That is a law that is countrywide. And the reason for that is because it is discriminatory based on religious beliefs. It goes against, obviously, it goes against the First Amendment and being able to follow whatever religion you want to follow. But it also goes against the 14th Amendment. I believe that's the amendment. I believe it's the 14th. Where it's obviously discriminatory against your religious beliefs. But let's get into this story and let's let's see what exactly went down here. Mike, Massachusetts has banned a couple from having foster children due to their conservative Christian beliefs about marriage, sexuality, and gender. Mike and Kitty Burke are a Catholic couple from Massachusetts who have long wanted to become parents. Beckett Law, who is representing the Burkes, said in a press release about the case. Mike is an Iraq war veteran. Kitty is a former paraprofessional for special needs children, and together they run a small business and perform music for mass. Unfortunately, the Burkes learned early on in their marriage that they would not be able to have children of their own. Mike and Kitty began exploring becoming foster parents through the state's foster care program with the hope of caring for and eventually adopting children in need of a stable, loving home like theirs. There is currently a shortage of foster families in the state of Massachusetts and over 1,500 children without foster families. So just to give you an idea of just how much these Democrat scumbags could not care less. I mean, they could not care less about these children. They know that children that grow up in the foster care system or in the adoption system that do not get adopted or fostered by families, those children are likely to grow up being heavily traumatized in that system if they are not adopted or brought into some kind of foster family. They're likely to be heavily traumatized mentally, if not also physically. Let's continue. The law firm noted the crisis has become so extreme that the state has resorted to housing children in hospitals for weeks on end. Not because the children need medical attention, but because the Commonwealth has nowhere else to put them. Now more than ever, Massachusetts needs loving couples like the Burkes to foster children in need. The couple completed hours of training in 2022 and underwent extensive interviews and a home study to qualify for the foster program. Throughout this process, Mike and Kitty emphasized their willingness to foster children from diverse backgrounds and with special needs, Beckett Law said. They expressed their openness to fostering sibling groups as well so that children in need could maintain those critical family ties. In all respects, the Burks were an ideal foster family. However, during the home interviews, the Burks noticed that many of the questions they were being asked focused on their Catholic views regarding sexual orientation, marriage, and gender dysphoria. The couple insisted that they would love and accept any child, no matter their sexual orientation or struggles with gender identity. However, because Mike and Kitty said they would continue to hold to their religious beliefs about gender and human sexuality, Massachusetts denied them a license to foster any child because, as the reviewer put it, their faith is not supportive and neither are they, Beckett Law explained. Federal law protects the ability of religious people and organizations to foster children in need without having to forfeit their beliefs. Because Massachusetts was unwilling to uphold law, including in its own foster parent Bill of Rights, Beckett is going to court to enforce them, the law firm said. The 132-page complaint requests that the court declare that the First and 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution require defendants to cease discrimination against plaintiffs and those who share plaintiffs' religious beliefs on the basis of their religious beliefs, exercise, and expression. They are also seeking attorney fees and nominal and compensatory damages. My goodness. You see, when we talk about in this country, when we have these pro-life arguments, these pro-abortion versus anti-abortion arguments here in the United States, the most common argument from the people who are against abortion is that you could just simply give the child up for adoption. And the counter argument from the people who are against abortion is that, but the adoption system and the foster system and that system is so bad and those kids grow up so traumatized. And of course, that's in my opinion, that's not an excuse to murder children. Of course, in my opinion, every single human life that has ever existed on this planet, except for Adam and Eve, started as a fetus in the womb of a woman. That is how every single life started. So clearly, since every single human life has started in that manner, clearly that is a very important, viable way of humans being born. Therefore, if it is a natural way in which humans turn into adult humans, clearly that is part of the human process, the human growth process. So to sit there and say that it is nothing more than a clump of cells or nothing more than a quote-unquote zygote or fetus and that it is not a human being is clearly scientifically false. And there's many studies that prove that. There's no other place throughout the process of human growth that you could point to and say that's when life begins, other than conception. Conception is the only scientific way of stating this is where life begins. Because there is no strong scientific evidence to back up any of these other spots or any of these other stages in the human growth process where you can point to that and say, okay, that's where life begins. Other than conception, these other stages don't fit that. Because without conception, you don't get these other stages. You can't, without conception, there is no human life. Period. In fact, the majority of life in general, whether it be human or otherwise, that's the exact same way for almost every single life that's ever existed on this planet. Human, animal, plant. Well, some plants are different, but some plants are very similar. Guys, this is an extremely important aspect in terms of human growth. But these people will tell you, life does not begin at conception. And it's very disingenuous because they will tell you this argument. Oh, we don't want them to grow up in the foster care system, and if you really cared about kids, then you would have already been adopting them. And that right there is exactly what I'm trying to get to you by sharing this abortion issue with you. They will tell you, oh, there's so many kids already in the foster care system, and they're going to end up getting traumatized and abused, and we don't want to add more kids into that system. And we need to get the kids out of that system that are already in there before we add more. Now, to me, obviously, that's a disgusting argument for killing unborn babies, but my issue with this is that conservatives, by and large, are the ones that adopt children, not people on the left. And now, because of states like Massachusetts, the Democrats in the state are trying to keep conservative families from adopting these kids, from fostering these kids, because we simply believe differently than them. Because they are afraid that if they allow a child to go into a conservative home, then that child might become conservative and will end up voting against them later on down the road and against their beliefs. So, in order to stop that, they are willing to utterly destroy every single right of religious beliefs that we have in this country. Now, we have seen recently that in Michigan, there was a town that was, they had a city government that was largely controlled by Muslims. And in this town, they made a law stating that on public property, you could not display pride flags. Now, me personally, not being a fan of the LGBTQ bullcrap, mental illness BS that's going on in this country right now, I'm totally a fan of this. Even though I'm not Muslim, I'm a Christian, I can totally understand why they would want that to be gone, because it just exacerbates the mental illness issue and pushes this transgender bullcrap onto children, and it's unacceptable. And that is exactly what they went ahead with in their own town, that they clearly had control of the government in. But I wonder what would happen in Massachusetts if a Muslim family wanted to adopt a child. Now, me personally, I think that the exact same thing would have happened. They would have said, "Oh no, we can't allow them. We can't allow Muslims to adopt kids. We can't allow Christians to adopt kids because they don't follow our beliefs." Guys, the left has lost its mind. Clearly. I mean, that's blatantly obvious in America today. But it's getting to the point where they're so utterly willing to completely destroy every single right in this country. I was reading an article about the Donald Trump. It's the case they're indicting him on, where they said that he had classified documents, and the classified documents case against Donald Trump. And I was reading an article about it, and the judge stated that every American has a right to free speech. No, I apologize. It was not the classified documents case. It is the January 6th case that they are trying to indict Donald Trump on, stating that he tried to overturn the government and the election illegally and all this bullcrap. The judge in that case stated that every single American has a right to free speech. But and this judge is known to be a far left lunatic. She has repeatedly been the harshest punisher of people who were involved in the January 6th riot. She has repeatedly been the person who has punished these people the harshest. Okay. She's obviously a left-wing lunatic, and she's very against Donald Trump, obviously, and she has shown that in her previous cases against January 6 defendants. Now, She stated, after stating that every American has a right to free speech, she said, every American has a right to free speech, but that right is not absolute. And this is what they think of the founding document of our country. The Constitution was created to be the highest law of the land, meaning that there is no law above the Constitution. There is no laws that can counteract the Constitution. Period. End of story. Now, you left-wing psychotic freaks might not like that, but screw you, no one cares. These rights are there for a reason. You don't just get to go and infringe on these rights simply because you do not like them. Guys, we're reaching a boiling point in this country. We just saw a 75-year-old obese man out in Utah get hunted down and killed by the FBI because he made some threats on Facebook towards Joe Biden. Now, I highly doubt that guy was actually going to be able to carry out those threats against Joe Biden, considering that he was very old and very obese. Now, I could be wrong there, and that's totally fine. I'm perfectly willing to admit that I could be wrong in that situation. And, you know, even whether I'm wrong in that, in assuming that or not, they were crimes. However, being that he was 75 years old and 300 pounds, personally, I don't think that it was quite as necessary to go in and kill the guy. But, you know, I digress. The point I'm making by saying that is we're reaching a boiling point here in America where the rights that are written out in our Constitution, the highest law in this land, those rights are constantly being infringed upon. Constantly. Now, the Second Amendment was, let's just say the Second Amendment is there specifically to be the last line of defense. Okay? It's the last line of defense. I'm not saying that we need any kind of armed conflict. And I'm let me just say this. Do not go out and start some kind of armed conflict with, you know, with people in our government, okay? It's not what I'm saying we need. I'm saying we need to exercise every single option that we have. And that includes, hey, get off your butt and go protest. Get off your butt. Go protest. Start a channel on YouTube and have debates with people. You know, let's have these conversations. And whenever it comes time to go and vote on election day, you have to do what you have to do in order to get the right people in our government. I recently watched a video. It was just one of those YouTube shorts, right? And I forget what channel it was. I'll try to put the if I remember who it was, I'll try to put the link to that little YouTube short in the description of this video. But in this short, there was a young man who was going around. He was interviewing people on the street, and he was telling people a certain quote that said, "If you don't vote for me, then you ain't black." Okay? Now, many of us who are politicos and are paying attention to the world that's going on around us, many of us know that is a Joe Biden quote. However, every single person that this person interviewed on the street, every single one of them assumed, not only did they not know that was not only did they not know that was a Joe Biden quote, but they all assumed that that Donald Trump had made that quote. These are the people that are voting in idiots like Joe Biden, like Mitch McConnell, like Nancy Pelosi, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's people like that are not paying attention, that that are the reason why we have idiots like this in our government. They're not paying attention. They are misinformed or uninformed voters. Now, I would argue that one of the main reasons why the informed people don't go out and vote as much as the uninformed imbeciles do is because of people who will sit there and tell you, oh, if your vote mattered, then they wouldn't let you do it. Oh, you guys think that voting actually counts? Okay. Let me just say this. There is a certain way to override a corrupt system. Okay? And you make it so blatantly obvious that these people now, if they are cheating, now I'm on the side where I think that elections still actually mean something and still do actually count. I do believe that your vote actually counts. Now, when it comes to this election in 2020, I do believe that there was some shenanigans. I do believe that there was some law breaking, especially up in Pennsylvania. I've talked about that, where they went against their own state constitution to allow mail-in voting. I get that. That was obviously breaking the law in order to allow that. However, I personally believe that elections still count in this country. Whether or not you agree with that, get off your butt and go do it anyways. Because we could have so many votes that come into the system where it completely removes their ability to cheat because it is undeniable who wins. We could completely just overturn this entire system. Make it so that it's undeniable. Bring in so many votes for the right politicians, for the people who actually care about this country. Bring in so many votes for the right people that it is undeniable that they won, and the system is completely incapable of cheating because there's just so many votes for the right people. Guys, we have got to stop with the disenfranchisement of our own base. People on the right. I don't care what your opinion of elections are. If your opinion is that elections don't actually count, I'm going to say this. One, piss off and keep your opinions to yourself, okay? Because some of us actually still believe in this country. Okay, if you have, if that's your opinion, and my opinion about your opinion is that you're a piece of crap who no longer believes in this country, and if that's what you are, then I don't know what to tell you. You might as well just give up. Like some of us actually still have hope and still actually want to fight for our country. You can go somewhere if you're not going to fight for this country. If you're not going to fight for this country, get the frick out of here. We have no space for you. We have no time for you. We don't care about your opinions because some of us are actually patriots and actually give a crap about this country and are going to fight for it until it is completely dead. Okay? That's the reality. Some of us are actually patriots. If you're not, get the frick out of here. But I will tell you this. Get off your butt and go vote anyways. And when it comes to your little opinions about elections, keep them to yourself. And stop telling other people that they don't actually count because you're actually hurting the cause here. You are fighting against the cause by telling people that. We actually have a chance. There's multiple polls showing that Donald Trump is likely going to win this next election in 2024. And we have a chance of having a good economy again, having financial freedom again, getting a lot of these corrupt scumbags in our government and in many governments all over the country, state governments, we have the ability to get them removed so that rights like this will no longer be infringed upon. But if you guys keep going around demoralizing our own base, fighting against the cause, how on earth can we expect to win when we're fighting against our own cause? Guys, do better. Keep your little salty opinions to yourself And whether or not you care, you think that the elections matter or not, get off your butt and go vote anyways. Stop being lazy. Actually be a patriot for this country and actually fight for this country like the rest of us, rather than fighting against the cause. Okay? Now, I want to share with you another story where somebody, it's a perfect example of somebody using their power to, let's just say, tell the government to go screw themselves. Okay? And this is exactly what every single conservative should be doing to fight back against this garbage, disgusting government that we have today. From the Post-Millennial, breaking: Biden DOJ fines Elon Musk $350,000 after he refuses to give them access to Trump's Twitter account. Now, $350,000 is obviously pennies to Mr. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And I'm not saying that everybody on the planet is going to be able to fight back on this level. But each and every one of us should be doing some kind of peaceful protesting against the government or against some kind of left-wing evil that's going on. Okay? For example, the whole Bud Light boycott. That was fantastic. That was an incredible moment in American history where the American conservatives stood up and said, hey, yeah, this bull crap, we're done. We're done. We're no longer tolerating this. It's over with. We're done. So there are things that you can be doing to fight back. You might not be able to fight back on the level that Elon Musk is, that I'm going to get to in just a second. But you can fight back. You can protest. You can, choose to not buy products that go against your values. You can choose not to support companies with your money that go against your values. It's called voting with your dollar. You don't believe in the election system? Fine. Believe in the capitalist system where you get to choose which products you support based on your values and whether or not that company follows your values. But let's get into this. This is from the Post-Millennial. Newly released court documents reveal that federal prosecutors had obtained a search warrant for 2024 GOP frontrunner Donald Trump's Twitter account in January for their investigation into Trump's alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election. But X, formerly known as Twitter, under owner Elon Musk, refused to give over the information. The search warrant had been sent with a non-disclosure order prohibiting X from notifying anyone about the instance or contents of the warrant. The court document said that X had initially delayed the... Excuse me, guys. Goodness, I'm about to sneeze. Goodness gracious. Okay, let's continue. The court document said that X had initially delayed the production of the materials required while undertaking unsuccessful litigation objections to the non-disclosure order. While the social media platform ultimately complied with the warrant and handed over the requested information 3 days after the deadline, the district court held X in contempt and was fined $350,000. The revelation came as part of an appeal before the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, in which the court upheld a lower court's ruling on the case. In sum, we affirm the district court's ruling in all respects. The district court properly rejected Twitter's First Amendment challenge to the non-disclosure order. Moreover, the district court acted with the bounds of its discretion to manage its docket when it declined. X argued in its appeal that the non-disclosure order had violated the First Amendment and the Stored Communications Act, and that the district court should have issued a stay of the enforcement of the search warrant until the objections to the non-disclosure order were solved. This is a breaking story and will be updated. So, holding back these documents from the government for as long as possible. Now, I wish that they would have just, told the government completely to just go screw themselves and screw you. We're not giving this to you. I get they had a warrant from this judge. Personally, as the richest man in the world, I wouldn't have given a crap. I would have said, no, you can go screw yourself with a very large wire brush. That's what you can do with your little warrant. I don't care. But at least holding back these documents showed that they are not really wanting to give these documents to the government. Now, I believe personally that Elon Musk should have done a little bit more, but it's the attempt that matters. This man is at least attempting to stop these types of things from happening. At least attempting to stop the government from getting a hold of this type of information. It's very similar, in my opinion, to Apple several years ago when I believe it was the DOJ, came to them and said, hey, we need this data about this certain thing. And Apple basically told them, no, you can go kick rocks. Now, Elon Musk, obviously, in my opinion, as a conservative, I personally believe he should have done more. He should have just completely told them, no, you're not getting the documents. We do not care how many warrants you guys bring. It's not going to happen, period, end of story. And, they should have just done their worst because, let's be honest, a $350,000 fine against the company of X or against Elon Musk himself is absolute chump change, in my opinion. But, guys, this is just showing there's certain things that you can do to fight back. Even if it's just delaying the inevitable, it's showing that, look, we are not putting up with this garbage anymore. This is a situation where Biden's DOJ, where Biden himself is trying to cook up and get private information, private conversations from his largest political opponent. And ultimately, Elon Musk was not able to stop it from happening, but he at least attempted to. He was able to at least delay them. Guys, we need to be doing similar things. If you see a company that goes against your values, put it out all over social media. Show these people, hey, we should stop supporting these guys. And here's why. This company goes against our values. We should all boycott them. Let me give you a perfect example. Best Buy recently they put out a company-wide notification to all of their employees stating or showing that they were going to be training people for management positions. Okay. However, in this notification, it clearly stated that the only people that were eligible to apply were people who were not white. Now, this is very clearly discrimination against white people. Very clearly. It's obviously illegal under the Constitution. However, of course, in our jacked up justice system today, there's almost no recourse in the justice system to stop this company from doing this, unless you want to go through civil court and sue them. But I mean, let's be honest. These major companies have they have the money to hire some of the best lawyers. So it's very unlikely that you're ever going to get some justice through the actual justice system. So the only real way for us to get real justice is to push back through a boycott. Guys, this is a racist company. Best Buy is a racist company that is saying we will not train white people for management positions. All white people that work for a company are ineligible for management positions. Only minority groups are eligible for management positions. That is very clearly a discriminatory and racist action by Best Buy. If you are a conservative, you should be boycotting this company and never buying a product from them again. This should be Best Buy's Bud Light moment, where their company becomes essentially dead. Guys, this is extremely important that we push back in the ways that we can. Now, in this situation with Elon Musk, he did everything he could. He was able, unfortunately, all he was able to do was really delay the inevitable. But at least he tried, which is a lot more than what some conservatives are doing in our government and conservative citizens. I mean, my goodness, guys, say what you want about the left, but at least they'll go out and protest. At least, I mean, my goodness, you can sit there and say, oh, all these left-wingers, they're all soy boys. Okay, that's fine. And, I might agree with you, but when a left-winger wants something done, they don't just write a strongly worded letter. They don't just complain on the internet. No. When a left-winger wants something done, they go burn down police stations. Okay? They drum up a mob and they go burn city blocks to the ground. Okay? Now, hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we as conservatives should go out and do those things, because obviously we actually give a crap about this country and want this country to still be standing by the time we get what we want. But I'm going to say this. If you're not willing to at least protest, if you're not willing to at least protest, if you're not willing to at least get off your butt and go vote on election day, then you have given up your right to complain. Okay? You are forfeiting your right to complain. If you are not willing to do the work to fight for this country and for the values of this country, then I don't want to hear a word from you. I don't want to hear it, because you're just white noise. That's all you are. You must, it's like the Bible says. The Bible says that faith without works is dead. Okay? This is very similar. Okay? Words without action is just white noise. It's meaningless. It's just lost out in the ether. It doesn't mean anything. Guys, we as conservatives must be more vigilant. We must be doing our due diligence. We must be fighting back, not with just words, but with actions. Not violent actions, okay? Not criminal actions, but with peaceful actions. Protesting whenever we can, okay? Whenever there's an election, whether it be a local election or a state election or a federal election, whatever it is, you get off your butt and you go vote every single time. I don't care what your opinions are about elections, man. I don't. We don't have the privilege of being able to say, well, I just won't go vote because, I don't think that the elections matter. Okay, well, no one cares. Either you're going to fight for the country or you're going to shut your mouth, because we don't have time for white noise anymore. The time for complaining on the internet, complaining on Twitter is over. Get your butt off the couch, put down your Cheetos, and go freaking vote. Go protest something. For heaven's sakes, please. Guys, we've got some very important decisions coming up. We've got elections coming early next year and later on next year in the presidential election. We got primary elections coming up here in the next several months. Guys, now is the time to prove that you actually care about this country. Do not claim to care about this country if you're not willing to do the bare minimum. Like, guys, protesting for what you know to be right and going out and voting on election day, those are the bare minimum things that you should be doing to fight on behalf of this country and to fight on behalf of the values of this country, the traditional values of this nation. That's the bare minimum. If you're not at least willing to do that, then shut the mess up, dude. Just shut up. Because all you are is white noise. If you're not going to actually fight for this country, then stop complaining. Because all you are is just, you're just making the rest of us look bad. You're just like the Republican politicians in our government right now. All bark, no bite. All talk, no action. Guys, we have to be better. We have to be better. Don't claim to fight for this country. Don't claim to care for this country if you're not going to fight for it and to take actual action in order to fight for it. Guys, take action. Get out there. Fight for the country that you claim to care about. It's extremely important, guys. We got to be better. Our rights are being infringed upon. There's two stories right here. Two stories right here, right in front of our faces. where is blatant disregard for the First Amendment. What are you guys going to do about it? What are we going to do? We're just going to sit here and complain? Or are we going to organize protests? Or are we going to, go and vote on Election Day to get these corrupt scumbags out of our government? Guys, we got to do better. We absolutely have to do better. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I will have another show coming for you guys on Monday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section, and share the show with your friends. Follow me on all the socials that are down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.